what does City do? City... I expect City to win their game in hand. I expect City to beat you at the Etihad. And then that would be, 3 points behind you.
And Arsenal got better goal difference.
I can't believe, and I did say this to James before we started, I can't believe the negativity in your fan base. And I get it is obviously...
Everyone.
It's obviously PTSD,
Everything.
and I appreciate that and I understand that, and I probably would be the same in your situation. But at this current moment in the league, you are 9 points clear. And even if that does get cut to 6 or it gets cut to 3, I just can't believe some of the absolute head losses I have seen from your fan base. I'm not saying you, but just generalising from the fan base. I've seen sack Arteta now, which has been wild.
Since he took the job.
That has been absolutely blowing my mind this week. I've just seen so much anger, and it's coming out, I think, of a place of fear, which I do understand. But at this point, you are 9 points in front of Manchester City. If somebody had offered you that at the start of the season, you'd be 9 points clear with 7 games to go. You'd be absolutely laughing. Now, the conversation about the quadruple and the treble, we can forget about those conversations now because they were ridiculous. And it's very hard for a team to win 1 trophy, let alone 2, let alone 3, let alone 4.
Do you think they're ridiculous, though?
Yes.
Like, I think it was right to have the conversation.
No, I think it's... I'll tell you why I personally, as an outsider, this is not even a hate thing, as an outsider, why I think it's a ridiculous conversation. To win the quadruple is near on an impossibility to do.
There's only been a handful of teams to have done it.
Yeah,
no, of course.
To win a treble is a ridiculous
to win
achievement.
1 trophy, specifically the Premier League, is difficult.
To win 2, if you won the Prem and the Champs, unbelievable. To win 1 is amazing. Now, with Arsenal, obviously they have a rich history of winning things, fine. Under Mikel Arteta, he's been building for 6.5 years or so, 6 years, whatever. They haven't achieved their goal yet. So to be sitting here when they've been second 3 times in a row, how can you honestly have a conversation about winning the treble, winning the quadruple? Just focus on winning 1. Not saying you won't go to the final of the Champions League. Won't say that you won't win the Champions League as well. But the priority for this season, in my opinion, as an outsider, for Arsenal was to get over the line in the Premier League. Like, when you talk about winning a quadruple and winning a treble, that comes from teams that have experienced winning. Now, when I watched and sat here with you, CJ, a few weeks ago, we watched the final, and I say to you about the mentality, and this is where I think all of the, not you two, but the general fan base's PTSD comes into it. When you've got to the final...
Just be careful here, Abby. Someone is waiting for a minute clip here to put up on Twitter.
Yeah,
and next thing you know, 1.4 million views later.
Do you know what?
Well, what happened there, by the way, guys?
We're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah. We digress. Me and CJ...
That's what the goal show's meant for, isn't it? To get clips, man. Smash the like button.
It wasn't even our clip.
Yeah, was it? Yeah,
you didn't even know about it. Literally.
6-hour show, 90 seconds, and pour out.
I woke up to madness.
I didn't even know. But anyway, we've gone well off topic. What I was saying was, we sat here and we watched that final together, and I have questioned quite a few times this season about the mentality of Arsenal, because it's a fair point. You haven't got over the line. So the first example of you potentially getting over the line, where you could shut people like me up and everyone else that questions the mentality of Arsenal Football Club,
to be fair.
and yourselves, and get rid of the PT, a little bit of the PTSD of when it comes to the crunch and in those big games, get yourself over the line. And you didn't do it against City.
True.
You know, you had a very easy run in the FA Cup up until this point, and I said on Monday on another show, I felt that it could be a banana skin.
St Mary's away. It's not easy, man.
And it's a bit of a banana skin. How do Arsenal bounce back? And they didn't bounce back in a run that was very, very easy for them. So now you're in 2 competitions. You've got a 9-point cushion when it comes to the Premier League. You are playing Sporting, and, you know, with all respect to Sporting, you should easily be beaten.
Don't sleep on Sporting Lisbon, man. They've got a good record against them. They've earned the right to be here in the quarterfinals. I get it, but
you're taking Sporting in the quarterfinal of the Champions League.
I hear that, but football's not one on paper. We've seen this plenty of time.
But if you were going for a draw, I've heard many Arsenal fans say they got the easier side of the draw, which they absolutely have done.
That's good.
It's not a Bayern, it's not a Madrid.
I hear that, but the winners are on the other side. Like, history is kind actually to the opposite side. Everybody's here for a reason. Play the game in front of you. I hear what you lot are saying. I guess the general consensus, regardless regardless of the competition with Arsenal, and I definitely speak for the Arsenal fans I speak to, has been a reaction. Obviously, the League Cup didn't go to plan, the performance and obviously the result. We had to sit on that during the international break. Southampton, yes, a very different lineup. Yes, the dynamics have changed, but it kind of leaves you with that same old stench. And yes, there's many an Arsenal fan that can sit there and go, yes, we don't expect to win every competition. But when you compartmentalise stuff and look at it with a magnifying glass, could have done better in the League Cup final. You got to the final. FA Cup, like Abby said, it can be a banana skin. We could have put our best foot forward. If you did offer many an Arsenal fan in August at this particular time, would you like to be in this position? We'll take it. Obviously, we just need to put the left foot in front of the right and just take every game as it comes, man. There's many twists and turns and bumps and bruises. Like I do admit, I think we need the Premier League of them all. If I was picking for myself, I would say the champs because we've never done it. But because of everything you've probably spoken about on this platform, the Premier League is everything.
Yeah, and James has never seen a team win the Premier League though.
No, I haven't.
Have you, CJ?
No. Yeah.
Oh, you have?
He wasn't watching football them times.
No, James has.
Self-admittedly.
No.
Oh, I thought we were talking about from an age standpoint.
No.
Oh,
Well,
right.
no,
How young do you think James is?
2006.
He's a wise man.
No, because we remember we chuckled him as a joke. Because you said you never.
Yeah.
We said you were alive in 04.
Yeah, well,
but he said because he didn't like football then,
yeah,
he hasn't seen it.
I got into it when I was 10, 11, I think. Yeah, but to try and explain a little bit what Abby's saying about the head loss and the frustration. Let me speak for myself and not for Arsenal fans, because I can already hear a lot of people go, no, that's not how I feel. But maybe this will relate to some. I think there's an element of we're top of the league. We've been competing on all these fronts. We're scoring, I think, the most goals in the league. I think we have, actually, or maybe at least second City.
We're up there for open play chances as well.
Why does it not feel like that? I think that's what it is. Like, you know, Liverpool fans last season, you had blips, you had most. The last-minute equaliser, Tarkowski, the 2-2 at Villa Park, getting knocked out by Plymouth, the PSG disappointment. But it felt, even the Newcastle final, very actually similar seasons in a weird way, but it felt like Liverpool riding a wave and enjoying it. Why are Arsenal fans not? Now, it could be because...
Is it something similar to the style of football you're playing?
And I think it comes down to that. I think it comes down to the 90 minutes are not that enjoyable. Now, the thing is, I'm actually going to defend Arsenal. I think we play a brand of football that is really tailored to what the Premier League requires right now. I think we are doing almost kind of what we have to do, but it's not pretty.
But on something you just said about why Liverpool found it easier, you forget that team that Arne Slot inherited had won everything. It had won a Premier League, it had won a Champions League, it had won FA Cups, Carabao Cups. He didn't come in and change anything. All he did was...
He tweaked a few
things. Minor things.
He tweaked a squad that was already together. You haven't got over the line with this squad. You were in a different stage.
So do you think it's just a pressure thing? Do you think it's just we have to do it? Because
I massively think it's a pressure thing.
I think it could be that. But then I also think you ask Liverpool fans how they felt, February, March, April last year, they were probably still feeling, okay, actually it's kind of won by that.
It was
December, January.
You'd have to ask about when
you still would have felt a sense of like pressure, whether you'd done it before or not. And as we talk about that group, I mean, that group was quite different. McAllister, Gravenberch, they hadn't done it. Nunez hadn't. Rest in peace, Jota had... no, he hadn't won a title, I don't think. So there were a lot of players who were trying to get that done for the first time. Diaz hadn't won one.
But the key spine of that team, in terms of a Virgil and a Salah, and they had enough, and Alisson, they had enough players. And the manager. They had enough players in there that had already achieved that and had already done that with Liverpool. I think with Arsenal, obviously, you look at that, and Gabriel has... Even though Gabriel, Saliba, Rice, Raya have been your best players, none of them have actually got over the line when it comes to Arsenal. And I think also Salah had such a generational season where, and there was no pressure on Liverpool last year. No one really gave him a title challenge at all, if we're honest. So with Salah, the style of football was better because Salah was banging in goals every week, and your front line, your attacking players have been pretty poor. Like, that is another thing everyone's question. Yeah. You're going to win the league most likely based off of defending, and however you win it, you win it. No, you lot won't care, and that's fine. But traditionally, if you're going to be winning a league, you see goals, you see sexy type of football, and it's just
not necessarily.
You see, but I think you see dominance.
Yeah,
I think that's the one thing you do see.
We do dominate. Statistically.
James, I think what you said is really interesting, and I apologize, I'm paraphrasing. You said. Maybe some fans aren't enjoying it like they should be. You're not riding a wave of excitement. It's interesting. You're a few games away from winning the first league title in 20 odd years. Do you agree with that, CJ? Do you feel like they should be more fun?
I think the fun starts when you finally get over the line. I do think, you have to. It's weird when you look at Arsenal. It's
you enjoy the journey to it, don't you?
I think we've done a lot of enjoying where, we ride the highs and the lows. I think many Arsenal fans can compartmentalize that. Listen, while it's not done, we can win a league title. While obviously at the same time, we're disappointed about the League Cup final. We're disappointed about the FA Cup. I think where our issue comes with, or for me, I feel like we're 90% of the way there. I feel the way we can dominate games, the way we defend, our low blocks, mid blocks, all of that kind of stuff. But in terms of wanting to play expansive play, I would say for my thing as well, Mikel Arteta, he has a plan. Like, he can walk into things knowing what an opposition's behaviours are going to be. But if there's like a spanner in the works, I feel in game, I don't feel he necessarily tries. I guess the point I'm looking for is, I think we shoot ourselves in the foot. And I think that kind of annoys me the most, but makes me the most optimistic in terms of our attacking play. Yes, on one hand, the Premier League football isn't exciting. We've obviously got Eze, we've got Gyökeres, who, to be fair, since 2026 has started their finding their feet. That's been the one thing with Mikel Arteta. I do feel, though, it's a bit white and black when speaking about Arsenal. It's either Mikel Arteta's the guy or not. I'm not being funny, and this ain't to alleviate Mikel Arteta of anything. The players, as you lot said, they haven't got over the line. How do you get over the line? You lot are the ones playing. And as there's got to be times in previous years where in whatever competition it's got to be, especially the Premier League, there's got to have been a time when you had a draw or you had a loss and you sat there and you knew that it was over. So it's all about defeating yourselves. Now we can sit here and cry, not happy to go at the FA Cup, especially in the manner. Definitely not happy to lose the League Cup how we did. Champions League, I don't necessarily believe we can get over the line, but put your best foot forward.
Why not?
I think for me to genuinely believe, I need to look around at my attacking players, because there is an element of, yes, it's about tactics and all of those things, but there could be a minute in a game where you just look to, historically, Real Madrid have had the Vinicius Juniors of this world. I don't necessarily see that. I see my boys, I think they've really got a willingness.
There's not that world-class player in this Arsenal team from an attacking point of view.
I mean, if we do have world-class players, they're not playing to their standards, isn't it? Bukayo Saka hasn't quite hit the heights this season. I do feel when you sit there and Gyökeres and Eze, as I just said, they've kind of turned their season around. But we've criticised kind of Gyökeres' start, right? The same with Eze, to be fair, the same with Saka. And I'm not trying to say it's just Mikel Arteta, but if you can name about 5-6 Arsenal attacking players, that's got to be a question the manager's got to ask. That was a question that was there last season. I don't feel I've learned anything new in an attacking sense. And I look at the statistics. You look at us from open play. You look at the goals. You look at statistically how the low blocks that oppositions play. You look at how high our line is. It's not that we can't do it. It's just one I don't have the answers for. I'd love to sit down with some red wine and ask Mikel Arteta why that is the case, because some of it is what James was saying. It is kind of the league. But then I look at players. I look at Rice, especially when he's starting to get goals. I look at Zubamendi. I look at what Eze was at Crystal Palace and elements at Arsenal. I think Gyökeres is a limited striker, but you can get a lot of limitations out of him. I don't think this should be an issue. It feels like we've done 90% of the job. It's just that 10%. But I do think we forget how much the players are the ones out there. They're the ones. Obviously, Mikel Arteta can give as many a team talk as he wants, but when he leaves the room, you've played Sunday League, it's down to them. Obviously, you look at the Invincibles, you could turn, you could look at Vieira, you could look at this, you could look at that. How much of it is actually the players need to do their jobs?
I think that's an underrated point. Odegaard, take your chance against Southampton. It's a glorious
typical Odegaard kind of finish.
And Havertz in the final.
Yeah, Ben White, don't let the ball roll over your head.
Exactly.
It's just
basics.
And it's 1-0 to us rather than 1-0 to them. However, I think you make a great point there. How many forwards have to struggle before you start to go, none of you are good enough. We were excited about all of you at one point.
I think two things can be true at the same time. I think you can ask questions of Mikel Arteta and also
this is my point.
Look at the players underperforming.
Exactly.
I think that the style and the system that Arsenal play, I personally don't think, and I think you two probably back me up on it, over the last 2 years, 18 months or so, you've massively gone away from that Arsenal style of football that we grew up on, right?
Yeah.
We have definitely gone away from that. That first season where you were challenging for the league and you weren't really expected to win in that first year, it was lovely to watch. Like Arsenal,
a lot of them games were on knife edge. That's why we had to add the defensive elements to it. But you are generally right with the attacking play.
In terms of the attacking play, you were a joy to watch, but you just needed a few tweaks here and there. And then he went so far away from it, being very cautious and a lot more focused on defending, a lot more being tight. It kind of sucked the life, I think, a little bit out of those attacking players. That's not to say they can't get it back. I think you need an upgrade. We've been saying for a long time, I think we need an upgrade when it comes to Trossard and Martinelli. I think their race has 100% been run. Now, Trossard has been brilliant, I think, for what was it, 25 mil you bought him for?
Yeah, no, he's been a loyal servant, and to be fair, since the turn of the year, he was doing all right. But yeah, we've known we've needed a left winger.
You need an upgrade on the left massively.
And another centre mid.
You do, and probably need another striker as well.
Abby, can I be pedantic about what you said? Something that the football's gone more towards Arsenal being quite cautious. I don't know if it's cautious as much as it's just like
less expressive.
Yeah, like tactically obsessed almost. Now, what do I know? But
that cup final was cautious, mate.
Well,
but again, he was outclassed by his mentor.
But that's where I said Mikel Arteta
so
being proactive, because you could see, you mentioned the League Cup final, right? You could see the way Pep said, you know what, Kepa, etc. have the ball. Arteta's just going to die on his sword.
But the approach to overall, we watched it. I would say that was the
second half
approach, though.
The in-game management.
The first half
was cool. Yeah. It's the in-game management. But if you're a genuine Arsenal fan and you've been watching us, yes, I know we haven't been to League Cup finals, but there's certain elements where I've heard, especially James at the start of when I've sat down, there's certain things. It doesn't really matter what game it's kind of been. We're kind of talking and seeing kind of patterns. And if nothing changes in that regards, nothing's changing. She's jarring.
Interesting, the cup final. We started really aggressive. We high pressed. We were creating turnovers. We had the best chance. And then did we tire, or did City just get better? I don't think you can really blame a team too much for not having more of the ball against Rodri, Shirky.
You have to be able to suffer. We made them suffer in the first half.
Right, and I think we just. The cup final was a weird one. I wasn't that mad at Arteta or Arsenal about that final. I thought, you know what, we got done. We got done on the day.
That as well, but everyone.
Southampton, I was furious. I just think the football has become more about. You see it with Arsenal. Algebra. The ball goes out to the right, and it's the players doing what have we been told on the training ground to do. Now maybe I'm being way too harsh. Arteta, he says we barely have time to train, so maybe I'm completely wrong on that. But it just feels a little robotic. It feels like going through the motions. What I loved about Liverpool last year, and by the way, Liverpool tried to be this season, and it's cost them. This is why I say maybe the league demands something different. But Liverpool last season felt very instinctive, back to front very quick, just play the pass, just go for it, just put it to the back post, and then if you lose it, then chase the next ball. It felt really expressive. Now, for all I've said this, and I've been on here talking about our style of football and why it bothers me, I keep saying to Arsenal fans, if you were given the red button right now, hit the red button, and our football will become more expressive. We will be more inventive. We will attack teams more. I wouldn't hit the red button. I wouldn't do it, for all I've complained, because it's what's got us to here.
This is what's keeping you safe. But what if that's the difference of getting you over the line?
Yeah, but that's the 10% that needs to be reinvented, whether that's Mikel Arteta, kind of, you mentioned Salah, where Salah had an interview where he spoke about slot. He said, let me stay further forward and I'll look after you in that regards. That is something I wish we'd done because of our defensive ethos, 2, the way we press from the front, 3, how our midfield and how organised we are off the ball. And then obviously, last point would be the monsters we have. You've got Declan Rice in midfield. If you're lucky enough to get past him, you've got Saliba, you've got Gabriel, which is why I always say we shoot ourselves in the foot. And it's something for Mikel Arteta. Everybody looks at us and thinks about the 2022-23 season. Granted, the football was expressive. We never saw an inverted left back like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. Everyone likes to forget in them games there in that season, there was a lot of games that were on knife edge. So I don't knock Mikel Arteta, kind of tying into what James said, of like being off the ball and whatnot. But I don't know if it's him, he's got to promote his players to find solutions, or he's just got to, I know I hate this cliche, but put the handbrake down a bit, because you do look at an Eze, you do look at a Saka. If everyone's at their pomp, we should be doing a lot. Everyone talks about these people are underperforming, but I've seen a lot of systems where attackers overperform, really, like limited players. They go and sign for another team. You don't really see goals, but you see them as merchants, sort of thing. So that is where I mean by I do think we shoot ourselves in the foot. But I'm with James. I probably wouldn't press the red button. It would probably be, if I could have a conversation with Mikel Arteta, what's going on?
Over a glass of red wine?
Over a glass of red wine, and obviously put the handbrake down. And also for the players, because what James was saying there, it just made me think about, ironically, in this competition, Real Madrid. Everybody knows Rice scored a screamer, but there was one of the free kicks where he said, the guy with the set piece coach was saying, put it in the box. He said, no, I felt this. I'm going for this. It's that element. I don't know if Mikel Arteta has to tell them, or I don't know with this whole leadership group, if players can take responsibility on themselves. Either one of the two. It's got to change, isn't it?
And I think then we have to go to a break. I was going to say, I think that's a prime example of when you've got Nicolas Jova and probably Mikel Arteta always erring on the side of caution, it does take the expression and like kind of like artistic license off of the players, whereas you want that. Like I've seen that with my own team over the years.
When it comes to fine margins in comps like this, you need
a bit of magic, and I think sometimes, not that Arsenal lack that because they've got it in their team, in their squad, but I think that probably where you said, James, like the over tacticalness of Mikel Arteta and the cautiousness and the pragmatism, sometimes it can suck that out of the team, which is a shame because not for me, but like in general, it's a shame because you look at someone like Bukayo Saka, who I'm sure is knackered because he has carried Arsenal for years and years and years to get to this point. You don't get to see them flourish at this point, but you need to sometimes just take the handbrake off. We've been saying that all season.
Will we see Arsenal take the handbrake off tonight in Port?